everybody. Welcome to more indoor hooping. Today's 5-move song-by-song sequence isn't going to be so much 5 moves as 5 concepts. And kind of the greater concept here is going to be the beginning of a class. So this is going to be structured like our classes start, because I started thinking, I wonder how many of us are doing our warm-ups before we start our hooping. I would say that something like 90% of the time, maybe a little bit less, I do the warm-ups when I'm hooping at home because I really love the warm-ups. So I thought I would remind us of the warm-ups. So that is going to be our first song. For the first song, we are going to do our straight warm-up routine that starts with our breathing lifts. Breathing in as we go up, out as we go down. We do 3 of these. I'm not going to do all of them, I'm just reminding you of how they go. So 3 breathing lifts, followed by our front side, back side, right? Sending our hips and waist in each of those directions. And of course, reversing that direction at some point. After we do those, we do big circles with our hips. And we also do those in both directions. Then we bring the hoops up to our chests. We do the same sequence with our upper bodies. Front side, back side with our chests in both directions. And we do big circles in both directions. So you'll do 4 or 5 of those, however many, for each direction for all of those. Then we tip the hoops up against our backs. We have our feet spread out a little bit wider than hip width apart. And we do 3 twists to each side. So you'll do 3 of those. We then do 3 stretches to each side. Then we go for that big chest opener, right? Where we've got the hoop against our lower backs. We're going to tip our arms backwards, really jam that hoop into our lower backs and lean into it. We will hold that for as long as it seems comfortable and appropriate. And then we go to putting the hoop on the floor and doing our standing cat-cows, right? Where we bend our knees, put our hands on our thighs, and we arch and round our backs. I said that opposite what I did, but it's about arching and rounding our backs as we breathe in and breathe out. So you'll do however many of those feel good. Then, typically at the end of that kind of formal warm-up thing, we do a few minutes of whatever kind of stretching each of us enjoys. So add a couple of stretches onto that if you've still got time in your song. That's the first song. Second song, we're going to start with our opening sequence that we would use in class. So that is going to start with waist hooping and bringing our knees across our body. You'll do that for however long you like. And then you're going to go to tiptoes. All of these, we start moving our arms around. After tiptoes, we go to marching in place. You don't want to rush through these too much because you've got a whole song to fill here. Because you're going to just do this in your dominant direction, because guess what the third song is going to be. All right, after we do the marching in place, we do the balance challenge, bringing each foot in front of us, beside us, behind us, twice on each side. And then we do our squats, right? So you're going to do that for the length of the song. If you get to the end of the song, you find you've still got, or rather, you get to the end of your sequence and you've still got time in your song, then go back to any of those that feel good. So the third song, you're going to send it in the other direction. I will just recap this quickly. We start with knees across our body. We move on to tiptoes, always using our arms as best we can. We then do our marching in place. followed by our balance challenge. Both sides. Both sides, do the twice on each side, and our squats. So in real life, both of those sequences take about a song's worth of time, of course, depending on the length of your song. So that really gets you into very much the feel and rhythm of the beginning of class. We're up to our fourth song. We are going to drop the hoop down, depending where you are with your knee hooping. If you're working on your knee hooping, that's where you're going to be. If you're already good at knee hooping, then you're going to try for mid-thigh. Mid-thigh will be extra challenging if you don't have knee hooping already. But if you do have knee hooping, then mid-thigh is nice and challenging on its own. That's going to be the fourth song. At some point, you're going to reverse the direction of the hoop. And for our fifth and final song, we're going to do our vertical hooping. Start with vertical up, your dominant direction. Remember that this is all about bouncing your knees. It's not about thrusting your belly or your pelvis. And at some point, you'll change to vertical down. Same concept, really about bouncing your knees. And at some point, you'll send the hoop in the other direction. So, today's sequence, a little bit different. Our first song, the whole song was about our warm-ups. Our warm-ups being our breathing lifts, front side, back side with our hips, big circles, front side, back side with our chests, big circles. Bring the hoop into our back plane, doing our twists and our stretches and our great big chest opening stretch, and then our standing cat-cows and our additional exercises, stretches that we like. Second song is the opening sequence in our dominant direction, and that starts with knees across our body, tiptoes, marching in place, the balance challenge, and squats. And so doing that for the length of the first song. Then we do the exact same thing in our non-dominant direction for the third song. Fourth song, we are either hooping at our knees, if that is where we really need practice, or if we're pretty good at that, then we are hooping mid-thigh, trying to keep that hoop from going all the way to our knees, but really trying to control it in the middle of our legs. And we'll do that in both directions. And for the fifth song, we did vertical hooping. Vertical up, vertical down in both directions. Getting a pretty good workout for all parts of our body there. I hope that you enjoyed this, and I will be back tomorrow with more ideas. Happy hooping to you all, and take good care. Bye-bye.